Good day, and welcome to our conversation at the New Jersey Association of School Administrators. I hope your day is going great. We're having a great one here talking about executive coaching. Joining me today, I have two really good people with associations, NJASA, doing great things for kids throughout their careers. First, we have Rick Falkenstein, who is one of our current NJASA officers, and he's the superintendent of both the Kingswood Township and Milford Public Schools. So Rick, welcome to you today. I'm glad that you were able to join us, given your busy schedule.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. And also with us today, Margaret Dolan. Margaret is recently retired. She is a past president of the New Jersey Association of School Administrators, and most importantly, a distinguished award recipient for all of the great things that she's done throughout her career here in New Jersey. Peg, welcome today. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Glad to be here.
So the opportunity that we have today is to talk, as I said in the introduction, about executive coaching. What is it? Why should you do it? Why should NJASA get involved in it? How is it different from induction when you're first becoming an administrator? And where can you get some more information? So let me just start with why it's important to me. You know, I've been working here at NJASA for a long time now. I served 20 years as a superintendent, working with great people throughout New Jersey. And it was really important to me to say, we need to continue to evolve what it is that we do in helping our professionals become even more effective in serving the children throughout the state. And so part of that was getting a really research-based great program of induction to get people in. We'll talk a little bit about that as we go along. But beyond that, what do we do for that person who's experienced? How do we continue to help them grow and become more mature in their role as chief school administrator or as a central office administrator? And so that really is an important issue. We worked for years on professional growth plans that are required by the state, but really this is an internal issue. How do I get better? Where do I go to do that? How can I increase my personal awareness in terms of how I perform my job? So we've got, as I mentioned, two great people who've gone about this and who are currently part of our cadre of executive coaches. And Rick, I'd like to start with you because you had an executive coach when we began to explore this, and it was important for us to have a conversation with you around your experience and how you got involved in it. So if you would, tell our listeners a little bit about your experience.
Well, thanks again for having me here. To be honest, when the board had approached me about the idea of getting an executive coach, my first reaction was to call ASA and find out what happens when you get fired during the middle of a contract. Because I was worried. I immediately called a bunch of my friends and colleagues, and all of them were also viewing this as something that was punitive. I had 20 years of school experience. I had great evaluations. I had a good relationship with the board. And to be honest, I really didn't understand why I needed this remedial service. I was reassured by the board. They thought I was doing a great job and that coaching was actually for high performers. And after some hesitation, I did begin working with a coach, and I quickly found out that it really was a gift. I couldn't believe it. The board wanted me to aspire to my greatest potential. And after only a few sessions, I realized that the actual idea of being coached was the board wanted me to be supported. And to be honest, I wish I could have been connected with a coach much sooner in my career. And now that I've learned about coaching, I see that it's not about remediation. It's really about leveraging me to find my fullest potential.
You know, you bring up an interesting point there. You have a supportive board. Obviously, they're looking at your growth and its influence on the district and the children. Since they wanted you to get involved, did they ever say to you, well, tell me what you're doing with your coach. Tell me what's going on. We'd like to know more information about this. Did they kind of ever cross a line with you in conversation?
Interesting you said that, because that was immediately I wanted to better understand what it was, the relationship between the coach and the coachee, and, confidentiality. And it was upfront immediately. I was informed that this is between the coach and I, that none of the information has ever been shared with the Board of Ed. To be honest, most of my feedback to the board about the experience, I got to share the areas that I wanted. It was not something that was even in my evaluation. To be honest, they've actually never even really spoken much about it, other than what I bring up from it. So what I thought was going to be maybe some sort of an audit or finding out that there was something that they wanted me to fix was truly just the beginning of a self-exploration, that they felt that there was more potential in me and that this would help me get there.
Great. We're really excited learning from your experience, and it's really impacted the training that the coaches have had. Peg, let me turn to you a little bit here. You've been experienced in many roles in education. You've been a principal, you've been a school superintendent, assistant superintendent for curriculum. So you've kind of run the gamut here. And as we mentioned earlier, you really have received the most valuable award that we have at NJASA, is saying that you are a distinguished educator, as you indeed are. Tell me a little bit about what you think, were you back in one of those roles, that executive coaching might help you to be more effective?
So I have been thinking about that as we've been going to sessions and being trained, and I've been reading more about coaching. I wish I could say that being a superintendent or an assistant superintendent was an easy job, right? But it's actually quite complex. And clearly anyone who's worked for a number of years as a administrator has to have the skills, or they wouldn't have kept working in the position, right? And we have many strengths, but there are so many different types of strengths you need in order to be a district administrator. There's no doubt about it. And so as soon as I think you establish yourself in your role and you get things in place, but then when you think and reflect a little bit, you realize, okay, we have this in place. Why didn't I pay attention to that? Maybe because it's not in my background. Maybe because of my experiences, I didn't think about that. And you're not going to go to your board and tell them, I don't think, I didn't go to my board and tell them my weaknesses. And you're not necessarily going to tell the people who work for you your weaknesses. But to have a coach where you could say, I think I need to work on this, and I could use some assistance with determining exactly what I need to work on and how to get to a goal. I can think of many instances where that would have been very helpful.
I was thinking about your experience, Rick's experience. When I first explored this, I knew that coaching had been very well documented in business and industry. And even about, I'd say, almost 2 decades, it began to surface here with educators, but really has never taken hold. And I had a similar experience. Gee, I'm an experienced superintendent. Why would I need a coach? And, I think the older I've gotten, the more wise I've gotten. And that is, I used to think I knew everything. Now I'm pretty sure I don't even know the answers anymore. So coaching is a great way to reflect upon it and to find additional resources that can help you to perform your work, not only as an individual every day, but certainly in special circumstances.
Right. And maybe to add on to that, Rich, sometimes you've established yourself in the district and things are going well, the board is working well with you, and then life changes, the district changes, the pandemic comes, technology changes. There's so many things that can change. And if each of us doesn't change, then there's going to be a problem. So I think that's another opportunity for coaching, when you see, oh, okay, I was doing all right, but the world has not changed. I don't know why these people are coming to my board meeting and screaming. And how do I take care of that? There's so many reasons why I think we have to continue to grow, and coaching is one way to help that.
Thanks, Peg. I mentioned a little bit earlier about we should look at the difference between the induction program and what this is in terms of executive coaching. On the induction side, we have our school administrator residency program. You're given a mentor who is an experienced educator, an experienced administrator. To get to that point, you've had to have certain training, as well as passing a praxis test, and to have an internship of 150 hours. So you've got a lot of experience along the way, but you're becoming into the job. And I often talk about maturity of individuals in the job. It's got nothing to do with your maturity as a person, but if you're a new person in one of those roles, you know that by the end of the first year, you know a lot more than the first day you walked in the door. So we do a lot to induct people in terms of training as well as mentoring at that point. How do you see the difference? And as you've had your own training to become an executive coach, how do you see the difference between this induction program of mentoring and how coaching differ? Rick, why don't I start with you?
Having been in both situations, I've coached people and I've been going through the coaching process and understanding it, and been coached and being a mentor. One of the biggest differences for me is that when you're mentoring somebody, you're trying to give them information and you're giving them advice, and you're trying to help shrink that learning curve when you take on that role of the superintendent. So you're eliciting specific information and guidance. When you move into the coaching area, you clearly have established yourself in the career and you have the experience, that the coach is now here to kind of push you for more of a self-awareness or self-discovery and curiosity to sort of test your capacity. So it really becomes more of an open-minded journey than it is a very specific scope through mentoring that you're looking for advice. You're just basically testing opportunities and seeing within yourself, how far can you go?
How about your experience there? What is it as having been a mentor and now a coach?
I absolutely agree with everything Rick has said, but I'd like to add one word that really explained the difference to me. Was a coach is more of a catalyst, right? I think a mentor might be more of a guide and a sense of support. I think a coach can support, but a coach is meant to be a catalyst, really trying to make sure that the client is making decisions, setting agendas. You're keeping them on track, but they really are the ones who are changing and moving. They have to be open. They have to be ready to change. They have to be ready to persevere. But you're there not to give all the answers, not to do research, but to be a catalyst, to ask the right questions, to help people be more self-aware, to help them think and reflect. And that was the one word that I said, oh, I now understand the difference.
Well, I want to thank you both today, Peg, Rick, for joining me and having this conversation as we kick off our executive coaching program. It's wonderful to know that we have great people like you who really value education and value the role that it plays in helping people who have been in your roles or will be in your roles potentially to be as effective as they can. So I want to thank you both for your dedication in joining us today. Those who get you as coaches are going to be really, really lucky people. So thank you so much. And for those folks, as we begin this year talking about executive coaching and bringing opportunities to folks, if you want some more information, check out our website, njasa.net. Keep an eye on all our social media out there. We'll be talking about this a lot. And Dr. Mark Stanwood, who is our Director of Professional Development in this area of professional growth, is the person to contact at NJASA. So again, thank you for joining us. We're excited about this opportunity for all of our NJASA members, and we hope that you have a great school year. Thanks for joining us.